My friends, what's going on? Hope you're having a wonderful start to your week. Said I would try to get in here and make an AMC video. I apologize that it is so late, but just finished up my Discord video over the RSI, and so said if I had time I would get in here and make one, and so promises made, promises kept. Right? Before we jump into the video, you guys know the deal. Nothing I'm giving you is financial advice. I want you to be an awesome, educated trader. So everything I'm giving you is for educational purposes only. I just want you to make great decisions for yourself, for your family, and your portfolio. If you haven't done so already, please follow me on Twitter, Colin_Gladman. Easiest way to keep up with everything we got going on. Also, too, if you're new to the channel, number one, thank you. Please like and subscribe to the video, all that good YouTube algorithm stuff. So, I just tweeted out recently, I told my Discord yesterday morning, I said, I definitely think we see a dip in that 11 to 11.50 range. We didn't quite come up that high. We came up to like $10.74. And then I said, all the head and shoulders charts are going to start coming out. And I said, now, will that be this week? And how long will it last? Who knows? Okay. So, what a day in SPY, right? I actually tweeted out, if you don't do Twitter, that I said that my guess on the CPI data, I said I was both neutral to bearish for tomorrow. The early morning pump followed by a pull is most likely. Pre-market was pumping like crazy. As soon as CPI came out, I said it was going to be 8.2 was my guess, and it came out at 8.3. Now, full disclosure, what I was surprised at is I was surprised how big of a nasty day it was on SPY. I figured we would get a red day. You can see right here we were running into some volume shelf anyway, the price action, every single candle on the move up was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There were lots of indications that we were going to see a turnaround in SPY. Now, the turnaround that we did see, I would not, and like I said, full disclosure, I am surprised at how big of a move that was. I would have guessed probably in that 400 range. Yeah, so right around like the 382, coming down to that 400, 405 would have been my most likely guess, and that just did not happen. And if we get over here into the minute by minute chart, I mean it gapped down and it just said, see you later, right? Big push down. Then you got the relief that all this was a big old fat bear flag right here. I'm freaking mad at myself. I wasn't paying attention to that at the time. That would have been a great opportunity right here for puts, but I missed it. Is what it is. Full disclosure, missed it. But if you look, where it's potentially, catching its bounces is, you still got this decent, uptrend right here. I think it's very likely to catch a bounce like I had it pulled up in the beginning stages. If you, if you look at the volume shelf right here, there's a pretty good size one right here at this 392 area. Now, if we do start breaking below that, then it's pretty much open city till about, 370 range, somewhere between that 380 to about 375. I think it'll come on down to that. You start losing this right here. So if you lose this support, then it's going to be in trouble. It's going to tumble on down at that point in time. I actually think what's most likely is I think we see, some type of relief bounce. Certainly, I would be surprised by another massive, just push down. If anything, I think what's probably most likely is to start seeing it kind of round out right here. So let me jump back in here to like the 5-minute chart. So if you came down here and look, it even started kind of curling up. So I think a continuation of just kind of, rounding out, curling up, maybe get kicked off here, then kind of start moving back up this way, I think is going to be your most likely. Now, what is awesome is how well, in my opinion, AMC held up today. So we got that kickoff right here, and all of a sudden, man, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this. Head and shoulders, dude. It's happening. Now, I've been saying for, I don't know, man, at least weeks now, that this was going to happen. I know I tweeted out going into this week, like, no way is this. It was when I was tweeting about my response to kind of Trey and Rico talking about some all-time highs potentially. Yeah, right here. I said, I think we need IV to cool off more. That's what's going on. I think we need the Bollinger Bands to tighten. Also what's going on. I think best case, we're talking 10, 50 to 11 in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And that would have been on September the 9th. So 4 or 5 days ago now. Which, once again, we didn't come up as high as I was hoping for. I thought we would, come up here to around, actually $11.15 was my call. So I missed that by 30 cents. Apologies. So, now full disclosure here. This still could play out. What you'd be looking for is kind of a break of this a little bit slanted neckline here. But I just don't think that's most likely. And the reason I don't think it's most likely is because it's what everybody's talking about. Head and shoulders, head and shoulders, head and shoulders are going to play out. What I think is most likely is I do think you could still see a continued push down to the downside, but I think you're going to be kind of catching this, macro trend. So I think low 9s to high 8s, like I tweeted out earlier, before it starts coming out. Now, I think we could see, that push down to the downside as far as getting everybody excited about the head and shoulders, getting everybody loaded up on the puts, and then, you're going to see a move down here, and it's like, yeah, see, told you, head and shoulder, and then what's happening to my puts? And then I think you start to see the curl back to the upside. That is what I think is most likely. It could also be just if the overall market starts to recover, you could see a little bit of just, kind of a sideways move right here before curling back up and retesting at that point in time. So I think that is going to be what we're going to see as far as the most likely. So just a little push down to the downside to, like I said, that low 9s, high 8s before catching right here and recovering at that point in time. So that is going to be what I'm looking for overall, the macro uptrend. A couple of good things that I found. So on the daily, if you go right here, so pretty much the daily got squashed. It found support on the 9 EMA, and then it found resistance on the 21 EMA. So getting these to cross, you can see what happened back in here, and then just kind of following the 9 for a nice move to the upside. But we definitely want to see continuation. We want to at least see kind of riding that 9, curling on up. Now, to me overall, the best thing by far and away with AMC today was the fact that it just didn't get smashed with the global market. I mean, once again, I tweeted out that AMC opened the day at $9.63 and it actually closed 9 cents positive from where it opened. Now, yes, it gapped down. That's why it was still a red day overall. But from where it opened to where it closed, it was actually green. Just like SPY did the exact opposite. It opened at 401.83 and closed at 393.10. If you would have told me if there was that bad of a day for SPY, I would have guessed 15 to 20% all day long is how bad AMC would have gone down. And when people say, I don't know, man, looks like percentages are the same to me, then number one, I do agree, but there's a massive difference when you're talking about the ETF that it is SPY and you're talking about a solo stock that is AMC. So many times you see SPY, just taking an absolute pounding, and AMC is taking an absolute pounding right along with it. So not only did it stay up, it stayed relatively strong today, and that was impressive. Like I said, I would have guessed easily probably closer to 20% red day if I would have known SPY was going to be that awful. So that was nice to see. If we go over here to the 4-hour, you can actually see that the 4-hour 921 just crossed, and it's staying right on support with this 9. So that is indicative of some very good things, some bullish things. Even if it's just a push to the upside to fill the upside gap up to about $10 before kind of curling back over. I mean, you can see just historically, when you do get these crossovers, typically good things happen. You had this move right here. You had this move right here. Now, here's why I just don't see us going way too much lower, is just because we spent so much freaking time accumulating in this range right here. There's just a decent amount of volume that has already been traded in here. It just doesn't make sense from a liquidity standpoint to be trading in that. If I pull up the in my opinion, the way you got to look at this is like it wants to travel the path of least resistance. And I mean, once again, I just pulled this up. I mean, look where the point of control is. Almost bounced perfectly down here at that point of control, once again, of this local accumulation range that we've been going through. So, we get back up here, I'm just now pulling this up. I mean, look at this. I mean, there's a pretty decent volume gap. We start pushing up right here. We're going to slice through this relatively quickly and easily. If we can get on top of, let's see here, if we can get past, $11, we get up here between $13.50 and we'll just call it $11.50. $11.50 to $13.50, we can move through that area relatively quick. Now, what does that mean? Sometimes the faster you move through the area, also too, you're going to get the pull back down, because at the end of the day, those market makers, they want to explore for liquidity. So I think you can still see downside. I've already made that case, but I think it's more likely, especially if the overall market recovers a little bit, I just think it's more likely that we see more upside out of AMC than downside. If we pull up APE over here, I mean, look where it caught today. Just people who say things like, well, fibs don't matter, TA doesn't matter. I mean, you think it's an accident? It caught perfectly on the 0.5 fib retracement? No, it's just not an accident. Okay? Now, even if it's a temporary relief bounce, I mean, you can see how freely and easily the stocks move between these fibs, and then what happens at those actual fib levels? You get the chop. Then you move free. I mean, massive gap up. Then you get the chop. So gap down, then you get the chop. Push down, easily in between. Now you're getting some chops. So overall, especially like I said, with what the overall market did today, like I said, I like it. I see the case for downside. I think even potentially you might see a little bit of red tomorrow, but if SPY, can kind of just keep rounding out, if the global market just won't get in the way, I think AMC is set up very nicely for some moves to the upside. So that's just a quick little jump in here, firing off the hip, if you will, to let you guys know kind of what I'm going to be looking for. Overall, like I said, I think there's more cases for the upside than there are for the downside. So I'm remaining bullish, especially with, like I said, the overall strength that it showed today in such an awful day in the market. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Have a good one, my friends. Full disclosure, I entered buy orders today for AMC. No, I'm not going to say exactly what they are, but I entered. If it does drop, I won't be a buyer. So like I said, I'm still a believer. If we get the downside, I'll snag some more shares. All right? Have a good one.